But this is why God invented the remote. Let there be light. Here at the Mango All-Stars, joined by Sister Golden Hair herself, Jen Durkin.
It's good to see you, Dave. Man, it's good to see everybody in the same place. People that we've known for many years that normally have gigs all over the place, and you know, on the festivals we have the same day to play together, but you know, without any festivals to do this summer, we've all been out of touch and not really playing together, not seeing each other. It's been the weirdest summer in the history of my life.
Yeah, because like in our history, it's like I just cross paths with you, like, you know, like at least a half a dozen times every summer. And it's always like, you know, we cross paths and it's always happy. It's always a hug. It's like there's so many of those. It's almost like even those little minutes that don't add up, like, you know, like they do. It's like a 30 seconds that I see you, like every time I see you. It's like in the absence of those, and that's the way it is with everyone that's here tonight. You know, we all share this, just like we're used to each other, and we just haven't been seeing each other.
I think we've been deprived of what we have taken for granted for so long, and it have made us appreciate it, which is always a good thing. And you know, it's really nostalgic to hear all these tunes from a long time ago. You know, Deep and Out of Blackout, we're at 25 years, going into our 25th year this year.
It's amazing. Congratulations. And that's a milestone.
You know, it's so funny because those are the oldies.
I met Ben for the first time.
Tonight we're playing the oldies.
You know, after all these years, I met your bass player. I talked to him earlier.
Oh, that's awesome. Benj is a great player, excellent. You know, we trusted him to be our treasurer. He was a very trustworthy and smart guy, and
very
the rest
thoughtful.
of us were like, woo-hoo! We're on tour, whoop-de-doo! And he kind of had his feet planted on both, on the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad you met him tonight. You know, when Deep and Out of Blackout was first a band, Joe Mango used to come and see us with my neighbor. My neighbor actually introduced me to Joe Mango, and it was he was coming to our shows, and then I guess like it was around 2000, 2001, I started seeing him out in clubs as the door manager, but I had hung out with him like personally before that. And, you know, he was just the coolest, you know. He always smoked you out before the show. And, you know, he really wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable and, you know, and that your people could come backstage and find you, you know.
Right.
He wanted you to be able to have a good time. And same thing with, like, Soup Stock. When he said he was going to do Soup Stock, I knew he was picking great bands. Like, you know, he got that really great London Souls.
Right.
Those guys were
they're amazing.
And then they broke up like right after that. So he luckily, you know, he had the sensitivity and the vision to, you know, pick out these great bands from the area and put them all together. And of course, it made our lives much easier because, you know.
Yeah, well, I honestly have been like, that's the image that keeps coming to my mind. It's like when I hear people talk about him, I picture like a guy like Mr. Miyagi who, like, you know, you would think he just, you know, works like, you know, repair at like a hotel. He's got a couple maintenance jobs, you know, like sound guy over here. But like, you know, but he's like making, he's like cultivating like gardens and making bonsai trees. And that's the metaphor I was using. It's like he almost sees like, you know, like the art, like the artist on stage is like a work in progress that with that he can make him sound like a king if he give him something to work with.
Right.
You know, and I mean, I think he sees the people and cultivates them. He's almost snipping away at the people that come here. It's like, you know, with like
cultivating, yes.
You know, like if I could, like, you know, if I could get them to like approach it this way, or just change gear, or like process them this way, or maybe like get them to chill out on a personal level. Like sometimes, because I relate to that. It's like sometimes I'll see someone who, like, maybe they need like a piece of musical advice. Maybe they need a piece of personal advice that's going to help their playing. That has nothing to do with their playing.
Use a mint.
Yeah, right. That could use, dude. Dude, thankfully, that's the one good thing about the pandemic is that, like, we can keep. Yeah, right. I feel a lot more secure in close quarters. You know what I mean? With these masks on. I've been to a couple towns since then, and I'm like, why wasn't I wearing a mask here sooner? I'm like, this feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets grimy out there sometimes.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just great to see you. I mean, it's amazing how it's so effortless, and it's been the hardest time to put a show together. Like the way what you have to go through, the hurdles you have to go through. Much props and love to Josh Krupp, who really engineered this whole thing.
Well,
with a lot of help.
I felt like, Kung Fu at a certain point, they just had they had Krupp and they had Mango, and they were just like firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
They were a great team, and I know that it just sucks, that the life over a little too short for me. Yeah. Yeah,
50 is young. We're all, he's one of us, It's like, I don't know. We're not ready to say goodbye to anyone here.
Yeah, could have hung with the Mango a little bit longer.
Yeah, and what can you do in the event of such something like that except come together as positive? Exactly. Like I'm really moved. I felt like I didn't get to know him that well. I met him a couple times, and obviously you can just tell with a dude like that the whole story. That this guy's amazing, and he does a fantastic job, and he's well loved. But like when you have to lose a guy like that so soon, it's like it ain't right, and nobody wants to let go, and there's no reason to. I don't know what we can do to keep his name there. We need to change something. Maybe rename the Bryac. Call it Mango.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, we should continue the Soup Stock legacy.
Absolutely.
It's a big job. I don't know.
Rename Soup Stock Mango Soup Stock.
Who would take that job on?
Mango Bryac.
That shows you just how big Joe's heart was, because it was such a hard job, and it was hard for him to say, no more, but he finally did, because I guess he was experiencing health issues, but I don't know. I didn't know about this until I kind of put it together, because I remember thinking, why is he not doing Soup Stock? It was so successful, and everybody was looking forward to it, and he was stopping doing it, and I'm like, why? And then that's why. Yeah,
it's sometimes you just don't know what's happening. I mean, it's hard to, and everyone has their own way of, seeing the writing on the wall and putting it out there or not.
So it was shocking.
I wish, he could have, had the opportunity to, see something like this, but it is, I do know that, I had the thought that, if it was what would it be like if he was working sound today? I know he would have, because it's when, miking up a live stream requires a little bit of, a little bit of art, a little bit of finesse.
Well, also, the other thing I wanted to say about Joe was, when I was living out in Arizona, I wrote about 6 songs, and I sent them by email to the band, so with the lyric sheet and with my recordings of me playing, playing to a drum track, acoustic guitar and piano. And from that, they kind of came up with their own parts, and then when I first came back to Connecticut, literally right from the airport, I'm not kidding, from the airport, that's what I had it scheduled, that Joe met us with all his recording gear after our gig at Bryac, and we set up and we did all 4 tunes, because the guys, I had sent it to them so they had, they could work on their part. And we just did a really fast impromptu demo recording session. Recorded 5 songs and got my most latest project started.
That's amazing.
So I really owe Joe a lot in that respect, because he gave me a really great deal. See,
that's hard to quantify.
He probably charged me half of what I really, I could have ended up paying if I went with somebody else to do that job.
Yeah, I mean that's really hard to quantify, like exactly what that means. Just the opportunity. Like I've been able to spend some time around, soundmen. Like I've been quarantined with an excellent soundman in a music building. So it's just like just watching how they work, and just when you have someone's attention on you who's an expert at that side of it, it just makes all the difference. And there aren't so many of them that will give you the good deal, that will do it as well as they do it, and do it in a way that isn't bothersome. You know what I mean? It's like that was almost a spit take.
Bothersome.
Right? Because some people can be bothersome, but it shouldn't be. That's my whole message to the people, is that music making should not be like an angry, stressful thing. Right? Like
absolutely, it's a kind of a prerequisite that you have to be kind of like Barry White.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta.
No problemo.
That's where you gotta think. You gotta think like that.
Yeah, I always see myself walking through an imaginary garden with lotus petals, when I'm walking over cables and chaos.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
I can't really hear my voice. Can you hear my voice?
Oh, I hear you good. I mean, we're up against it, but the sound has been pretty killer up here. I think the actual blend is where I probably would mix it if it was if I was using backup music. So I think it actually, because these are of course Telefunken mics, they joined on as a sponsor. I want to give you guys and the guys are here. Scott is here. Scott Medeiros.
Oh yeah.
And I know he's been instrumental in setting me up with these. I want to thank him for that. But that's just because they do really pick up things so nicely that actually I'm sure this comes in. Maybe. It's hard to tell, but it's roughly where I might mix it if I had it underscoring us, so it's not a bad deal, even though it is loud.
Yeah.
But it's been so long since I've heard any music.
Very, very long, yes. Well, losing Joe right after his 50th birthday, pretty much.
Right.
And then having this, coming together really for the first time in 6 months. A lot of us were saying we haven't gigged in 6 months. People who basically lived on the road and were constantly on the road, 5 weeks at a time, sometimes on a tour, and to go from that to nothing, no gigs, to you're home, you're stuck, you're grounded, no flying. That a lot of people's lives just came to a screeching halt.
Yeah, we're just trying to reinvent things.
Recording artists and performers. We're trying to figure out the way to utilize the streaming services and
that's why I'm here, because when you're separated from your band, I had me and the internet. It's this is, hey, look, it's me and the internet. This is what we're doing. I mean, this is what we have to do. Just me and the internet, and hi internet. Hello internet.
The worldwide internet.
Look, a full ride horses. Indigo. I am the great pirate Roberts.
Hi-ho, Silver.
I have come for your soul. Man, I miss everybody. I just miss everybody.
We have the coolest theater of all time to hang out in, too. This is an old burlesque theater from the early 1900s,
We're at the Wall Street Theater.
Yeah, they just celebrated their 100th anniversary here.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
This place is pretty amazing.
They put about $5 million, no, I'm not joking, into refurbishing this place because it was seriously falling apart, like dangerous, like a death trap. And we used to pack people in here for Government Mule played here once.
Sure, wow.
So it was so hot that I had to open that side door there and poke my head out, and everybody just rushed outside to get air. So it was so hot in there. Back in the pre-COVID days.
Yeah, I'm actually catching a vibe out here in Norwalk. In Norfolk. Oh, wait a minute, Norwalk. I was right. I'm like
Norwalk. Yeah, it's very. We call it the wacky.
Yeah, like in the back area there. There's like a mural. There was like an outdoor yoga class. You know, like I caught a vibe. The music was in the air. Maybe it's because all the homies are here today, but that helps.
And the artists that live in this neighborhood, they do a lot of really good-looking graffiti.
Well, I just want to share that, I sort of look at it this way. Since I've been going to Gathering of the Vibes, I've gotten to know a lot of the musicians from this area. So,
And Mango did sound for all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I want to say that so many accomplished musicians became accomplished musicians because they had a guy like Mango dialing them in and really teaching them the sweet science, the art of it, how to do it the right way, and then you learn those things.
Suffered so many nights of, I know people can't hear me, I'm the backup singer, so nobody give a shit that, they stopped working on the music, and now they're, on autopilot. They're not even checking the levels anymore, and you're just stuck with that the whole night. That's how you get hoarse.
Right.
Singing like that, and it's too hard and hurting yourself, getting laryngitis.
It's like a struggle to climb through the ranks until you finally get to someone who yes.
Being on the road is very hard on the body. And when you're a singer, your instrument is literally your body.
Right.
There's nothing you can plug yourself into to give yourself energy. And when you get there's no sleeping on the road. And when you do get some sleep on the road, it's so rare. And your body really needs sleep if it's gonna be
if you're gonna sing, if you want to make a note. That's my whole life these days. Is I've really I'm living right so that I can wake up fresh so that I can sing.
Well, that's one of the cool things about COVID is it kind of helped people that really shouldn't have been going to clubs every night.
Right. It's how about that immune?
Their faces off.
How about that immune system?
Yeah.
It's God bless your immune system with sleep.
So
tea.
I think we're smart enough to flatten the curve and make it so that we can come out and do these kinds of events.
Right.
And not feel we gotta hide in our house all the time.
Right. No, it's important to do it.
We sell so many tickets, and that's it. That's cut off.
Yeah, what do we sell? There's no tickets here. There's it's just us.
I'm saying in the future.
Oh yeah.
Just make sure that you sell only half the capacity of tickets. That's Captain's Cove was saying they were going to do that.
I would like to see that phase implemented. I don't know.
We never got to it.
Well, it's a weird thing right now, and it's kind of messed up that music is the last thing anyone's thinking about right now. It's no one. It's everything's getting back online, but the last thing anyone's thinking about is
church, music and church.
Yeah, it's what about right?
So for some people, music is church.
For me, I look at it that way. Yeah.
Yes, we motherfucker.
Yeah, we all about it. We about it.
Qu'est-ce que c'est, motherfucker?
That's it.
Oui.
So yeah, no, I just need it.
So
it's
irie right now.
Oh man, always.
In Joe's honor because he was always extremely irie.
Yeah, and I heard someone played a video of the cough. He had an epic cough on the camera, it was
Yeah, there's some crazy.
Yeah, no, but dude, it's we miss with these. Every one of us is a part of a picture that we know so well in our mind of how it's supposed to be. When everything's good, everyone is in their right place. We're walking along. It is Gathering of the Vibes. He's working at one. He's probably doing sound on the stage.
Yeah, we're kind of like a tribe.
Yeah, it's
the Gathering of the Vibes, Terrapin, Vibe Tribe. And there's young kids that. Not to say they're kids, Aggie and and Goose and stuff, but they're the next.
Sure. The next voices out of this area.
Yeah. So it's very hip to be out there with those guys.
It's cool to see
relevant again.
Right, but it's cool to be to see the multi-generational impact and influence that he's had because I had the drummer of Goose on just talking about how much he meant to him when he started playing, because that band opened for my band once upon a time.
Right on. That's
You know what I mean? So he remembers what it was like to be, to come from there and, start playing the Bryac and just want to be liked by this guy. Right? And then when he takes an interest in you, you feel like, you've got a chance. It's like, maybe I am okay because this guy seems to think so. But he'll be missed. You can't just easily replace a guy who gives that much to the craft and makes so many people better. But it's really on the people that he touched to turn around and then start to impart that wisdom and experience on the next person and such.
That's deep.
Hell yeah. Well, Jen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I always love having you on my show. That was a great show. I got it on my, if you're on my page watching this, in my other videos, we did a tribute to Bernie Worrell one night that was really special.
Yes. Thank you for doing that.
A guy who needs to be talked about.
I love coming on your show. I love listening into your show. All the cool musicians that are in your life, it's just, they're all so inspiring, and it kind of and I just you're scrolling along and all of a sudden you hear something or you see something that's like, wow, that's such a fresh take on that. Oh, what, it just kind of gets you jazzed again. You have all that kind of experience going on your show, so.
Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Well, it's always a pleasure, and I just love you and your brothers so much. Anyway, Jen Durkin from Deep Banana Blackout. Check out Jen Durkin in the business. And catch the end of this live stream, Mango All-Stars. You can find it on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
The links should be in the description. You can also Venmo and PayPal. We love Mango. We've broken down where everything goes. It goes to the right places. So really anything is appreciated. And really just tune in to the live stream and enjoy this project, because it was put together for all the right reasons. And we all miss Joe, and we miss you at home. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back with some more.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Thank you, man. Oh my goodness.
All right, we're back live with Jen Durkin. She's got a bonus Mango story that she wanted to throw in before she got out of here. So we're just going to give it to the people.
Early on I think it was all right, maybe it wasn't early on. It was 2010. Yeah, it was 2010. My band was, at the time, we weren't calling it The Business yet. It was a different project, and it was
I think I remember.
It's like the Durkins, kind of.
Durkins.
The Durkins. And my brother was on the kit.
Yeah.
And, this was the early days of Mango's becoming a sound engineer. I always knew him as that fun guy to hang out with at gigs who was always rolling joints and, packing bowls, and just a great friend. And then he decided, he started doing this, and I got hip to it. Because now I wasn't with Deep Banana anymore. I was just all over the place, kind of on my own, taking whatever gigs I could get. And so the early days of the Durkin band with Darian and Rich.
Right.
We and Jesse Gibbon, who's played tonight in the Bryac Funk All Stars, So
right.
We all were, kind of. I lost my train of thought again. Okay. So we all got invited to the New York Harvest Festival, which was so hip because, it was before marijuana was like it is today, just a lot more, just legal in places and stuff. This was back in the 90s where it was this was really
sketch.
Not
still.
90s. It was 2010 when we were saying.
Oh.
But it was still kind of sketch back then.
All right.
And the funniest part about the whole thing, though, was that Mango was there. It was one of his first, I think, times doing the first Saturday night, Deep Banana headlined, and then my band headlined the Sunday night, and we did this really late night, weed tasting, gourmet tasting party, and then our set was at midnight.
Oh boy.
And this was like the day before. It was like in the fall too. It
And
was
right, they
freezing
still
out.
hadn't learned how to like roll back the like the dosage back then. Like when in the
Joe-
earlier days of cuisine, like things were a little bit. They came in a little high on the
Yeah.
content, the concentrate.
And Joe says to me, "What can I do? Is there anything I can do to help you?" And I was like, "Yeah, somebody gave me a really great HD video camera, and in 2010, HD
Ooh.
was like a big deal.
Sure.
Not like now, like everybody has HD on their phone. This was like, oh wow, And
I think we're in HD.
nice. And this was back when it cost you $2,000 to buy one of
Right.
these cameras.
No, not even. Yeah.
And so anyway, I had this, and I wanted him to get some video, and it was great because, he totally didn't have to do it. He was already there, like doing a job that he was, he didn't have to take on the video responsibility, which can be very time consuming and it's a drag, But that's like the number one thing I always need help with as a cameraman. So
Sure.
So he just
I miss
he would
mine.
he would jump in, he would just whatever was necessary to make the show good and or to record it and So yeah, thanks. I just remembered that story. I just wanted to tell that really quick.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, sometimes you can be in the right place at the right time. Like where you just sort of like, oh, what a night. It's just like, oh my goodness, like, jeez.
It was hilarious. We did hits from the bong.
Hits
And
on the ball.
You could just see him cracking up, like cracking that smile while he was doing the video for that song.
That's priceless. Yeah.
So now, I guess that's always kind of the way I remember him, cracking that little smile,
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting it. He's like, I didn't know you guys did East Cypress Hill. Because he knows every song, and he knew what that was.
Yeah, that's pretty hip. And because someone actually told a similar story where like they played like a deep cut Genesis tune, and he caught it and was just like nodded and like went about his way. It was like a meaningful thing that when someone plays something that he likes, you know what I mean? It's like that was like one of their favorite moments because you felt the glow that you gave him just for the surprise of it, just the treat. Like if he got to hear something like something that maybe that connected with him, that it really meant something to him, and everyone else. And then with their own material, everyone here knows which songs of theirs he loved the most, which I think is cool.
I think he had a really good sense too of like what bands worked well together when he like made the lineup for the stages and the shows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I meant.
The
It's
lucky
like,
ones.
yeah, it's like all of you guys are. There's so many pros that came out of this scene, and I really feel like his imprint on all of them. And that's why they're here. That's why this is so well attended.
True.
And tribute to that man. And once again, Jen Durkin, great to see you.
And you're also contributing to music and arts education for, through Joe's mother's foundation.
Yes.
They all the money raised tonight is going to be shared with that foundation, 100% of the proceeds. Because we all just wanted to be here tonight to lift up Joe and some of his favorite bands that he's worked with over the many years. Since that, I guess it was like 18 years ago that first started really doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was just so many things that connections I made with him, with other professionals, like lighting people and.
Yeah. No, I think it's like one of these things that there's only so many of us who could be here, and I know more people would want to be here, and there's so many more stories to tell. Like Soup Stock should be like, should live on for him, and we can keep remembering him, and let's just keep doing that because, especially when someone, at least for the next 20 years, it's like you get gypped out of at least another 20 on like life. It's like. I don't know. It's like ask me when I'm 70 that I'm ready to go. I won't even be ready to go then. Like, I feel like I was just so young still. I just can't even make.
I know. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you have to don't put stuff off.
Right.
And take care of yourself really, really meticulously.
Yes.
I'm saying that mostly because I know I need to do that too. Like, there's a couple of different, sonograms or mammograms and all the, that I've been putting off having.
There's a couple pokes and prods that I'm not all about either.
Yeah, like I've been blowing off some stuff that they're like, hey, you might want to check
Oh my God, that's the age. I just heard. Yeah, I just heard. Like I'm 45. That's what I'm supposed to get. Like it's all about the back door at this point. Supposed to get everything checked out.
It's also you reap what you sow. Like lifetime of like bad eating is just going to give you a body that's chewed up from too much acid, and you got to get your pH balance back.
Yeah, like I really need to say that because that's been a lot on my mind over the last several years. I really started putting everything in that does that. The only things I put into the body are things that actually do something for the body.
Good.
As opposed to
nice and alkaline.
That's right, and I'm even a water snob. For that very reason, where I usually go with Fiji because of it's exceptionally alkaline.
Yes, it's so important that we balance that out because so many of our foods.
Maybe I'm full of it. I don't know.
No, so many of our foods and drinks cause us to need that.
It's important to learn these things. Like they didn't know years ago what they knew like 50 years ago, and they didn't know 20 years ago what they didn't know 50 years ago. And nowadays we're learning a few things that we didn't know a few years ago. That when we were kids and raised, at this point enough time has gone. Like we have to there's a lot of things. If you have some habits that are still harken back to that era, maybe there's like another manual or an update. Some of us need an update, especially like in that department. I took it. I just said the prospects of like what it's going to look like from here on are a lot better with me in control of what goes in. So like it's really like that, and I think
without the freedom to choose, we don't get to exercise whether or not we're going to choose well, and we can't allow other people to dictate that.
Yeah, and put like our best foot forward every day. Like it makes you ready to deal with that type of shit.
I feel like there's some bullying going on now with the whole COVID thing and the election.
You know what it is?
There's bullying with the COVID. There's bullying with the election. And it's like, it's you. If you vote this person into office is going to solve everything. If you keep a certain person in office, is not everything's going to be horrible, and we're going to have to burn it down, start over.
Right. Well, you know what? I feel like there's a terrible thing that's happening where, if you don't hit every point that the left has, or if you don't hit every point that the right, you're just as useless to them as the right. So here I am, maybe like a 15 out of 16 point match to the left, okay? But because I might have one thing off, all of a sudden to the left they're like, up yours, you're the problem, we don't need you. And so it's like you can't listen to some of the people who aren't left enough for the left and who aren't all the way on board with that side, and then for the people who aren't all the way on board with the right, because they get it just as bad. It's like, oh, well, you're Trumpy in this way, but you're not Trumpy in that way. We don't want you, right? They get turned away they're as crazy as everyone, and nobody wants nobody who has anything to disagree with the pack mentality, which is split in two right now.
Well, that's the fact that we have people who are so married to their position, whether it's Democrat or Republican or black white issue. People are so far into their perception of things that they really can't see another one. We have to be able to tolerate each other in that circumstance. Because we're talking about people who are not going to change. They're going to say what they're going to say. And if we're going to get offended every time they say it because we don't agree with them, there's something wrong with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't legislate that.
Right, right. That's what it is, right? Like, there's only so much we can turn to anyone for any guidance on these issues. It starts here on the streets, where like people just need to find a way not to be so polarizing with each other.
Well, or at least be able to understand how someone could have a completely opposite point of view
and still be a human being,
and not have to make it about like canceling people and launching into big, verbal abuse campaigns and beating each other up emotionally about like they just people that look down their nose and they say, "Oh, how could you not know that? How could you not know that?" But I heard on my newscast this, and this.
You're not left enough for the left.
How could you not know that?
How could you?
And really, it has left and right doesn't even matter. It's like, how could you believe what you believe? You start attacking somebody's like personality,
right?
And over what? Something in the government that we have no control over,
right? Because
no control over at all.
The way I learned it is that
control.
The trick on this planet is that no two people are alike. Like there's no two people are alike. So how can we be forced to have like the same opinion as someone else? Right? Like,
and you can't expect people to bend over backwards for your opinion all the time. You're going to have to just realize in life that people are going to think opposite or different than you, and you should expect it and not get insulted when it happens. Because it's the reality of life.
It's about time to get hip to the climate of this country right now. And it's like, it's what is it, The Big Lebowski? It's like, sorry, the bums lost. It's like, it's not really like that. It's like actually like the bums won. It's like the morons won in this country. Like they told us that if you watched like too much television, that you would all become a bunch of morons, right? And then by and large, that pretty much happened. Like, the time has taken its toll. The control of information and the way it's dispersed and what kind of programming we're offering into the world. I wonder if I keep putting reality up, and if everything I do is always real as far as I'm concerned, will I get to do it? Like, how long will I get to do it for, right?
How long will you get to do it?
You know what I'm saying? Because I want to keep, like, I feel like now is a good time for us to, like, take advantage of these technologies and try, like, I have, like, a studio. I can, like, bring bands into play. Like, it's a venue. I can create a venue.
Was I there? It's up in Cambridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was the old building, but I'm in another building. But I'm building a new space. And it's where I was broadcasting from, was in the studio upstairs from my own. But I have, there's like 3 studios there that I have that I can work with. Great. And, what I'm trying to do is I want to create a place where we can get back to the music that we all be making. Because I don't think, if you ask me, and maybe I'm putting too much out there, but if you're listening, this is a good lesson for you. It's like when it comes to the music business right now, all the money is on the table.
It is.
It's like people.
Right, because you can do so much to put your music out there and get subscribers and people to purchase downloads. It's all the ball is in our court all the time. There's so many good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just what I'm saying is the point is the crap that they've been like force feeding the marketplace, the music industry. Like they don't have a means of dispersing that right now. It's like their well has run dry. So like while people are ready to listen to something, it's like the first person who can like hip them off with a CD, in today's whatever that is today. I feel like it's like a frisbee. I'm just like that's the image I want to like, send them right through here. Whoever gets the music to the people will and the music never stopped.
Yeah, Milo's singing her ass off.
Yeah.
Milo, did she give her story?
I haven't talked to her yet, but I think she showed me a video or something. I don't know. Maybe no, I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing.
Her mango story was the very first time she ever sang at Bryac. She's like 20 years old, so she's brand new to all this. She's like, what is this? All of this. I brought her to the rock and roll resort. I invited her to be in the band. And because she was like, I want to take lessons from you. And I was like, clearly she was singing with Miles's band, Miles Lavolsi.
Yeah.
She was singing with Miles's band, and I was like, well, more than just me like giving you scales to sing and like that kind of thing. You need to just do these gigs,
Yeah.
So I would invite her
Right.
on the gig, and Rock and Roll Resort was just also so happened to be my 50th birthday party. So so I had her in a big like vocal chorus because it was my birthday. I didn't worry about paying myself. I just made sure I had like a lot of singers.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I always, I felt really lucky for a time, being a singer on the come up. Like, I was just rolling. I had like a squad of singers. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like nowadays it would be neat to have the squad back together again. Because it was like that. It was like, when you cut your teeth, you stay out all night. And then like when you're staying out with singers, it's like you're all just in each other's face, like singing this. What about this? What about this? And you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden they're like down here and they're up there, and then all of a sudden you're like on the street walking around, like like I miss all those things. Like the street corner barbershop quartet. Like whatever happened to those guys?
I was walking through like the parking lot at dead shows and people like singing around little fires.
Yeah, and trash barrels.
Totally.
Rocky.
Trash barrels.
They were singing War. It was War. No, it was Frank Stallone. I think Frank was in that barbershop group that Rocky walks by. Of course, Frank is always getting he's always getting the gigs. He did the soundtrack to Staying Alive, a Sylvester Stallone production, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. Yes. I like that movie. I don't know why. I think I was talking to Johnny about this. I like fictional rock movies with like fictional rock scores where it's like some sort of like task someone has. Estimate like a fictional like best band of the 70s ever.
I used to talk about this with Mango a lot. is Tenacious D.
Right.
We would talk about Tenacious D all the time because it's like.
Well, they wrote a song not about that. So they didn't write a song about the sound guy, but they really do celebrate the crew guy with the.
They do. So they had. I'm getting a little bit distracted by the dance party that's going on in the Wall Street Theater tonight.
I mean, I can kind of go mobile. I don't know if I have the skills to like turn this actual live moment. It'll require a lot of like finesse with cables and stuff, but I will take the rig in there to see what's popping. But no, you know what? We're going to go in there. You should go in there. Thanks for joining me because I want you to tune into the live stream while it's still going.
Yeah.
Get on Facebook, get on YouTube, Mango All Stars. It's you can find it. It's in my description. Donate some money. It's a beautiful cause, and it brought a lot of great people here together to do the thing they love the most for the guy that really helped them be something in this business. So it's just been a real pleasure.
Help a lot of kids get music, arts, and education.
Absolutely. The proof is in the pudding, and the pudding down here is tasty, folks. I'm about to carve me off some. They're playing the dead.
Tasty.
So I gotta before the music will never stop, and I'm gonna catch some of it. So we'll be back.